Hello, my friend. I'm glad you're here again. Before we begin, take a slow breath in. Hold it for a moment, just enough to feel your heart lift. And exhale gently. Let the air leave without effort. Let the room grow a little quieter around you. Now, let's begin. Why do we crave to be understood more than we try to understand others? It's a question that hums quietly under almost every human interaction, the longing to be seen, to be known, to be met where we are. We carry it from childhood, that deep wish for someone to look at us and say, "I understand you, I get it." There's something almost sacred about being understood. When it happens, it feels like a door opens inside us. The guard drops, the weight lifts. It's one of the purest forms of relief, because it tells us, you're not alone in here. But here's the paradox. While we long for that kind of understanding from others, we rarely offer it with the same devotion. We spend more time hoping to be heard than learning to truly listen. We reach for empathy, but speak louder than we listen, not out of selfishness, but out of hunger. Because being understood feels like safety. It means we exist in someone else's eyes, not as a role, not as a version, but as ourselves. It means the chaos inside us has been translated into a language the world can read. Yet, the more we chase that feeling, the further it seems to slip away. Because the truth is, no one will ever understand us completely. Not fully, not perfectly. We can spend years trying to explain ourselves, our pain, our joy, our reasons, and still some part will remain wordless, unreachable. That's not tragedy, that's being human. But somewhere along the way, we began mistaking understanding for validation. We think, if someone understands me, I'll finally feel worthy. If they see my side, I'll finally be enough. And so, we keep explaining, defending, repeating our stories to anyone who might translate them into approval. But understanding isn't owed to us. It's exchanged. It grows in the space between two open hearts, not one demanding attention. When we crave to be understood without learning to understand, our connection becomes one way. We turn conversations into confessionals. We talk not to connect, but to unload. And while that can bring temporary relief, it rarely brings peace. Because peace isn't in being understood. It's in understanding, both ourselves and others, with gentleness. Think of the last time you truly listened to someone, really listened, without planning your reply, without judging or fixing. For a few moments time slowed, the noise quieted, you were fully present. In that stillness, something beautiful happened. You disappeared. The space between you and the other person dissolved. That's understanding, not as intellect, but as presence. To understand another person deeply is a kind of love. It means stepping out of yourself long enough to meet someone else's reality without needing it to mirror your own. It's an act of humility to say, "My story can rest for now. Tell me yours." And yet, we resist it, because listening means letting go of our central position in the world. It means accepting that someone else's truth can exist beside ours, equally valid, equally alive. That's hard for the ego. The ego wants to be the main character. It doesn't just want to be seen, it wants to be right. So, we talk louder. We repeat ourselves. We wait for the other person to pause just long enough so we can speak again. We call it conversation. But sometimes it's two people taking turns, waiting for silence. It's not our fault. We were raised in noise. We were taught that speaking is power and silence is weakness. But the forest doesn't need to speak to be understood. The ocean doesn't explain itself to be heard. Their presence is their language. And when we learn to listen like that, wide, patient, still, we begin to understand not just others, but life itself. We say we want connection, but connection requires curiosity. It requires stepping out of the loop of my story, my pain, my need, and into tell me who you are. It's not self-erasure, it's self-expansion. The more we understand others, the more we understand ourselves, because in listening, we find the reflections we never knew we were missing. The way someone else struggles with fear might show you your own hidden fear. The way someone else loves might remind you of a tenderness you buried long ago. The way someone else forgives might awaken something brave in you. Understanding creates bridges between hearts, between worlds, between generations. And yet we build fewer bridges than walls because understanding requires slowing down. It asks us to stop rushing to conclusions, to stop needing to be right, to stop assuming we already know. It's easier to crave understanding than to offer it, because offering it requires surrender. It means putting aside the armor of certainty and saying, "Teach me how to see through your eyes." And when we do, even for a moment, something quiet and luminous happens. We realize that behind all our stories, fears, and roles, we're all made of the same longing. We all want to be seen, forgiven, accepted. We all want to come home to understanding. That realization softens you. You start to notice how everyone around you is carrying their own invisible explanations, their own reasons for why they are the way they are. You stop needing to judge so quickly. You start to forgive faster. You understand that the person who interrupted you might be desperate to be heard. The one who seems cold might be protecting a wound. The one who doesn't understand you might be fighting to understand themselves. And in that light, craving to be understood becomes less urgent, because you start to see that understanding is not something you receive, it's something you create. Each time you listen without defense, you are creating understanding. Each time you choose empathy over judgment, you are creating it. Each time you see yourself in someone you once dismissed, you are building it. And somewhere in that process, you realize you've been understood all along, not because someone perfectly translated your pain, but because you began living from a place where translation wasn't needed anymore. Understanding isn't an exchange of words. It's a recognition of sameness beneath difference. It's saying, "I see myself in you, even where we disagree." So maybe the reason we crave to be understood so much is because deep down we already sense what understanding really is, a doorway into unity. We just forget that we can be the ones to open it. The next time you catch yourself trying to explain yourself too hard, when you feel that ache to be seen, pause for a moment. Ask instead, have I been seeing others? Ask, what would happen if I listened now, instead of speaking? And then just listen. No agenda, no fixing, just presence. In that space, something larger than words begins to speak. The quiet truth that every person you meet is made of the same need to be understood. And when you meet that need in others, you meet it in yourself. Understanding doesn't erase differences, it holds them gently. It doesn't demand agreement, it allows coexistence. It doesn't require perfection, it requires patience. So, the next time you feel unseen, remember this. You can become the very understanding you've been waiting for. You can offer what you've been craving. You can be the space where understanding begins again. Because understanding is not something we find, it's something we practice. Every time we slow down, every time we listen, every time we look at another human being and remember, they are also trying to be known too. Thank you for being here, for giving yourself this moment to reflect. Stay gentle, stay curious, and stay kind. And if this question spoke to you, continue your journey with us on Yarven's Questions. More stories, more reflections, and more quiet truths are waiting for you. Take care, my friend.